Welcome back to CIA Declassified. We've explored the clandestine kitchens of Operation Steakhouse, but next we're going to step into the sunlight, where a different kind of technical entry was being tested. In the late 20th century, the agency began to realize that you don't need bombs to bring a nation to its knees. You just need to break its internal clock. By targeting the circadian rhythm of the world's most efficient workers, the CIA opened a door to a terrifying new form of ecological sabotage. This was Project B0. To disrupt an ecosystem, the agency turned to the science of entomology and electromagnetics. Project B0 was a research initiative focused on the biological effects of radio frequency radiation on insect navigation and pollination patterns. A quote from a declassified 1978 Office of Research and Development memo: "The honeybees' reliance on the Earth's magnetic field and solar cues for navigation provides a unique vulnerability to directed microwave energy. If the navigation loop is broke, the hive collapses." End quote. The agency utilized the Frequency-Emitter, a portable microwave device designed to pulse at the exact resonance of a bee's internal magnetic sensors, causing them to lose their waggle dance communication. A quote from the Environmental Impact Annex 1982: "A sustained disruption of pollination within a 50-mile radius of the emitter resulted in a 40% decrease in fruit-bearing crop yields over a single season." End quote. The archives reveal the dead orchid trials conducted at a secure site where different frequencies were tested to see which caused the bees to fly into the ground or simply refuse to leave the hive. The agency used Hive-Control, which involved planting microtransmitters within the wax foundation of hives to monitor the thermal signatures of the colony as they reacted to the pulses. A quote from a scientific advisory board briefing: "By manipulating the circadian rhythm, we can effectively put a target's agricultural sector into a permanent state of winter dormancy." End quote. The declassified logs indicate that Project B0 led to the development of the biopulse, a weapon that could be hidden inside a standard weather station to target specific crop regions. Technological breakthroughs included magnetoreception mapping, which allowed the CIA to visualize how insects see the Earth's magnetic field. The archives confirm that the agency experimented with pheromone vapor combined with microwave pulses to lead swarms towards specific urban targets. The declassified B0 files show that the program successfully tested a frequency fence that could protect a U.S. base from insects while simultaneously starving out the surrounding local farms. Operational breakthroughs included the long-range acoustic device, which used low-frequency hums to mimic the sound of a rival hive queen, inducing mass panic among pollinators. It was revealed that the CIA paid apiaries, I think I'm saying that right, APIARIES, as a front company to procure millions of honeybees for the Project B0 lab test without raising suspicion from environmental groups. The logs reveal that thermal imaging was used to track colony collapse disorder in real time to see if the microwave pulses left a detectable forensic signature. Remember, with the CIA, plausible deniability is everything. The archives show that the agency used seed coatings that made crops invisible to bees' ultraviolet vision, effectively hiding the food source from the insects. Declassified technical manuals from 1985 detail the polarization scrambler, a ground-based unit that distorted the polarized light patterns in the sky, causing bees to navigate in circles until they died of exhaustion. According to the release, the CIA successfully miniaturized the pulse generator to the size of a cigarette pack, allowing field officers to collapse a single hive without affecting neighboring colonies. A quote from a 1989 CIA ecological warfare briefing. The objective is not the destruction of the insect, but the denial of its labor. A hive that cannot find flowers is as useless to a target nation as a grounded air force. End quote. The agency established a floral simulant program to test if bees could be redirected to pollinate specific non-food bearing weeds instead of vital wheat or corn crops in enemy territory. Archival records show that Project B0 researchers utilized high-speed cameras to map the flight paths of microwave-affected bees, discovering that certain pulses forced them into a permanent defensive balling behavior. While the science of bee navigation is now public, the most significant redactions in the release appear in the Field Deployment Sector 7 and the Mortality Impact Projections. In fact, the absolute heaviest redactions were hundreds of consecutive pages regarding the agricultural mortality maps from 2024. Are entirely blacked out, suggesting a terrifying recent application. Why are maps of dead crops from only 2 years ago still a state secret? Get ready for the theory of the hunger pulse. Speculation suggests Project B0 wasn't just a study, but was actually used in the 1990s to trigger famines in enemy states. The theory claims the redactions in the atmospheric propagation files hide the use of high-altitude satellites to pulse entire continents, and the black bars mask the secret list of nations where the B0 protocol is currently active. What if the bees were the weapon? A dark rumor suggests the CIA wasn't just killing bees, but using the microwave links to turn swarms into biological assassins. The theory claims the redactions in the neurological override section hide targeting geometry for urban swarming, where bees are pulsed to attack individuals carrying a specific chemical marker on their skin. Hidden behind the ink of the cross-pollination logs, some claim the CIA created zombie bees that carry synthetic parasites, and the redactions hide the infection vector for spreading bees to domestic livestock. Looking at the blacked-out nectar analysis files, theorists argue that the CIA used nanopollen to track the movement of every person who walked through a field, with the redactions hiding the human tracking success rates. The silent orchard theory posits that the redactions in the soil sample logs hide the fact that Project B0 pulses actually mutated the plants themselves, and the black bars protect the genetic drift data. Some whisper that the avian interference redactions hide the fact that the CIA successfully moved the pulse technology to birds, creating spy pigeons that have their flight paths controlled via the same circadian override. Looking at the redacted botanical countermeasures chapter, gossip suggests the agency has planted false flowers across the Midwest that are actually microscopic microwave repeaters, and the black ink hides the relay grid map. In the Species Extinction Annex, massive redactions cover the bumblebee trials. Theories suggest the agency wiped out an entire subspecies of bee to test the ecological vacuum theory, and the black ink hides the extinction cost analysis. The hollow hive theory argues that the redactions in the subsurface audio logs prove the bees are communicating with underground intelligence, and the black bars mask the interspecies diplomatic transcripts. Lastly, some whisper that the redactions hide the fact that the agency has already replaced 10% of the world's bee population with micro drones, and the black bars mask the remote activation codes for the global swarm. Was Project B0 a success? Tactically, it was a chilling success. The research proved that the frequency-emitter could reliably disrupt honeybee navigation and collapse local hives. Strategically, it remains a shadow. While the agency officially states the project was for defensive research, Only, the archives show that the ability to weaponize the circadian pulse created a tool for total environmental control. Project B0 proved that the most effective way to win a war is to ensure the enemy never even realizes that they are under attack until the shelves are empty. As far as technological and operational breakthroughs are concerned, the silent spring changed the definition of a battlefield. For instance, circadian disruption, the development of resonant frequency pulses that target biological clocks. Non-kinetic blockades, the ability to create an agricultural dead zone without firing a shot. Entomological surveillance, the first field use of hive transmitters to monitor ecological health for intelligence purposes, and magnetoreception jamming, breakthroughs in magnetic field manipulation to confuse biological navigation systems. Project B0 shows us that the agency doesn't just watch the world. They listen to its heartbeat and they know exactly how to stop it. As the files reveal, the drone of the bee is sometimes the loudest warning we have. Thanks for listening, and join us next time as we examine Operation Obstacle. In the battle to grind the Soviet machine to a halt, the agency turned to limpet mines. Operation Obstacle was a high-stakes campaign of sabotaging fuel tanks and infrastructure in East Berlin. We'll uncover the magnetic attachers, we'll look at the hidden divers, the corroded pipelines, and the moment the agency realized that a small hole in a tank could sink an entire empire. Join us next time for the Iron Leak. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.